most common cause of death for women. 80% of it can be managed with early awareness and diagnosing it earlier. Like male, crushing and excruciating pain, that is not so in female. They say vague symptoms of nausea, indigestion, shortness of breath, and pain is there, but in an unusual place, like jaws, neck, back, and in the shoulder. So that is misinterpreted.
So in this episode, we are honored to have with us Dr. Hema Rath. She is an assistant professor in Department of Cardiology at NRS Government Medical College.
Gestational diabetes patients are at an increased risk of cardiovascular risk in the later part of the life. So those are unique to female patients. Preeclampsia is hypertension detected during pregnancy, and that also has an effect on cardiovascular risk, like PCOS, polycystic ovarian disease, and then endometriosis. These are highly inflammatory stage. They act as inflammatory markers, and they progress the disease and plaque formation in coronary arteries, leading to cardiovascular risk factors and deaths. She has to be taken care with the diabetic numbers, the blood pressure numbers, the LDL, bad cholesterol numbers, because the protective cholesterol called HDL will be reduced because of the decreased estrogen level. Even patients having an earlier menopause are also at risk factor, rather than the natural course of having a menopause. So these, I think, few gender-specific risk factors.
That's quite deep, ma'am. This is more complex than we thought of or think of, that heart attack is heart attack, whether it is for a man or it is for a woman.
We should be aware that it is no longer just a male disease, because initially they used to think, I will not get a heart attack. That is wrong.
But it goes unnoticed. That's why we call it silent killer.
That is exactly. That's why it is very much applicable for female. So I request females not to consume tobacco in any form, especially smoking. It's highly dangerous. It is 10 times more harmful than a male. So smoking is number one thing to be avoided. Avoid alcohol, even if you have it in limitation. If you have not started, don't start.
One message about her heart health. What should that message be?
See, I request all you ladies to prioritize your heart, prioritize your symptoms, take care of others, but your heart equally deserves the exact care as that of others. Finally, your heart deserves the best. You need to be happy and healthy for your life and for your family.
Hello and welcome to the Voices of Cardiology, brought to you by Voice of Healthcare in collaboration with Polymedicure. This series focuses on simplifying heart health for the patients and families, where India's leading cardiologists will share practical insights, real-world experiences, and advancements that are shaping the modern heart care in our country. In this episode, we are going to discuss about the silent heart, why cardiac diseases in women is missed and how to prevent it. So, heart disease remains one of the leading cause of death in women. Yet, it is often underdiagnosed due to the subtle symptoms, delayed screening, and of course, low awareness. So in this episode, we are honored to have with us Dr. Hema Rath, one of the leading female cardiologists practicing in Kolkata. She is an assistant professor in Department of Cardiology at NRS Government Medical College and also associated with Bellavue, Woodlands, Birla Hospital, Technodhama Hospital, and Manipal Group of Hospitals. A young, dynamic cardiologist, Dr. Rath has expertise in modern cardiac techniques, including angioplasty, pacemakers implantation, advanced imaging like IVUS, and complex calcium management procedures. She completed her MD from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences and DM in Cardiology from Medical College, Kolkata. Welcome to our show, ma'am.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk over the female health. The woman health, woman heart, most important, and in a nowadays situation, and to know about it is really a great thing. And you have been doing a great job by keep getting a public awareness of the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is our honor to have you with us. So directly hitting the topic, like you just mentioned, the heart disease in women. So it is often called as a silent killer if we talk about for females. So why exactly is that case, and what makes the cardiac diseases in women different from when we talk about, which leads to delayed diagnosis and sometimes missed warning signs as well?
Right. So let me tell you, as you all know, you've been telling, it is the number one killer disease in nowadays for the and most common cause of death for women.
Yeah.
And 80% of it is, it can be managed with proper early awareness and, proper public awareness and, diagnosing it earlier and other things which I'll be discussing. So why is it actually called silent? Why? Because it develops over a long period of time without presenting with the typical signs or symptoms, but it presents with a direct severity called heart attack. So they probably realize it when they get a proper heart attack. Though they are prevailing that disease for a long time, developing, damaging the heart slowly, yet they are unable to recognize that they are facing problems. So this is a silent killer. And it is called silent because it goes into a straight catastrophe when it is diagnosed at whenever they present in a critical way. So that's why it is called silent. And I would like to say silent in women, there it is much more than that of male. Why? Because they present in a different way. So first of all, let's talk about presentation. So presentation like male, which is usually like in any other movies which you see, they present with crushing pain,
Yes.
a crushing and excruciating pain. That is not so in females.
Mm.
They don't say the crushing pain which the generally males say. They say vague symptoms of nausea, indigestion, shortness of breath, and pain is there, but in an unusual place, like jaws, the neck, and in the shoulder. So that is misinterpreted by not only the general house people, even the doctors consider it a less important symptoms and a less critical disease is to be recognized. So what I feel is because of these unusual symptoms, half the thing is ignored at home. So they might say, okay, you might be having an indigestion, you might be having acidity, just leave it, we'll wait for a time. And over that, under recognition of a female herself, because she is always a giver, she takes care of the family, she prioritizes other things rather than her own things. So she might think, okay, it might be a smaller issue, let me wait for some time. So this pulling through attitude is one reason why females are more affected in general way they present compared to that of the male. And once they come, so because there is not a classical signs and symptoms, when doctors recognize it in a as a pain, anxiety, stress, or panic attack, and they are sent back without giving a proper medical attention. So these are the reasons, few cultural and initial stages where the heart disease is missed. So this is one stage. Once, even if it is diagnosed, then there are few anatomical and biological changes compared to that of the male. We have ways in which we can detect heart disease. So even if it, because arteries which involve in the heart, which are damaged, are the minor, smaller arteries compared to that of the bigger arteries, which we usually get more so in male people who are having a heart disease. So microvascular disease, that is called, is more common in females. The smaller vessels get affected. So even if you do a CAG, you feel it is a normal angiography, she is not having a disease. In fact, she'll be having a cardiac disease, so it will further increase and give rise to a heart failure. So she'll be anyway having a cardiac risk later on, which is missed, even though she is diagnosed. Then second, if she is having underlying hypertension or a cholesterol distress, cholesterol dyslipidemia or something, these are all things which do not present with correct symptoms. So these are all chronically present in her, so that she develops a heart disease in the later part of the life. And over that, these are few reasons for which it is missed initially.
Very rightly mentioned, ma'am, because like you said, that women tend to ignore the signs and symptoms which they normally have. And like you mentioned, that male have that crushing chest pain and women have some different signs and symptoms which we do not relate it that it could be a sign of a heart disease or a heart risk. And I think that's where the point comes in, where all the females or the women who are listening to this episode should take their health seriously and should not ignore their signs and symptoms, okay, let it be, we'll figure it out.
Exactly.
We should avoid that attitude.
Yes.
Ma'am, moving ahead, let's talk about some red flags that women should never ignore. We were just having that conversation. So from your clinical experiences and the patients you meet and have that conversation on daily basis, what are the early warning signs or red flags that women should take seriously and seek that medical attention for, even if they seem it quite mild or intermittent?
Right. What I usually hear from my female patients is they tell they have palpitations.
Hmm.
Okay. They have palpitations. They get a feeling of pounding in the heart, in the chest region, basically, when they go to sleep or they, do their household works. So this palpitation and, pounding sensation, feeling heavy, those should not be ignored. And even they say ki unusual shortness of breath. Even if they're sitting, they feel ki there's something I am difficulty in breathing. So all these symptoms, if you see as a lay person, they might say, okay, you might be anxious. That's why you're getting palpitation. You might have put on weight or something. You might have aged. That's why you're getting breathlessness. But no, these are indirectly telling you there's something wrong and which has to be addressed and it needs medical attention. So these are few symptoms, and whenever they say frequent nausea, frequent indigestion, feeling of a acidity type of feeling. So even after giving you an antacid or whatever treatment, if she continues to have that kind of a nauseating and indigestion symptoms, so that should not be ignored. So apart from that also, awake chest pains here and there, and which is intermittent, so all those should not be ignored. So that's what I commonly get the symptoms from my patients. And more importantly, why shortness of breath? Because they might feel they are having lung disease. Okay.
Yeah.
So most of the patients will go to a pulmonologist and keep taking inhalers.
Correct.
And that is another reason where even though she's having a heart failure symptom or early feature of a heart attack, she will be missed and she'll present directly with a critical condition called heart attack.
Ma'am, when we specifically talk about women's health, so there are some unique risk factors if we compare it to a men's health, which is almost every time underestimated. So, the risk factors specifically, like such as hormone changes, pregnancy-related conditions, lifestyle stress, or some autoimmune disease that increases the heart risk in women, but are often overlooked.
Right. So let me tell you, as usual, all the risk factors as out of a male is applicable to female.
Yeah.
Right. So what are the few unique things which you have to know? So some few unique things start from the earlier age. So earlier age, after you get a menarche, you will be into a reproductive age group. You'll have a pregnancy. During pregnancy, there are few things which are important to be noticed. So if a person who is not a diabetic, if she's around 25 or 23, she's got pregnant and she's diagnosed to have a diabetes, that is called gestational diabetes. Okay, gestational diabetes patients are at an increased risk of cardiovascular risk in the later part of the life. So those are unique to a female patient. Patients having gestation, no other male will be having a temporary diabetes and then gets away and then again gets a diabetes. No. So this is first. Second thing is again a patient or a young female who is having a pressure hypertension, which is detected during pregnancy, which is called preeclampsia.
Yeah.
The preeclampsia is hypertension detected during pregnancy, and that also has an effect on cardiovascular risk. And the third thing would be after eclampsia, she might go into preeclampsia, she might go into an eclampsia. So these are few pregnancy related issues which has to be kept in mind. These will affect the microvasculature and later a very high risk for developing a cardiovascular disease. And when you come for the gender specific, there are few ovaries which are present in females.
Correct.
So uterus which is present in females. So some diseases like PCOS, polycystic ovarian disease, and then with some uterine abnormalities like endometriosis. These are highly inflammatory stage. Okay, they act as a inflammatory markers, and they progress the disease and plaque formation in coronary arteries, leading to cardiovascular risk factors and deaths. So these are age, gender specific. One is pregnancy specific, gestational hypertension and gestational diabetes. These are the pre-test, it means like, stress test to detect that she is having a high tendency to develop cardiovascular disease and a high risk category of patients which have to be monitored. So thirdly, the third stage of a female is a menopause.
Yeah.
These are all gender specific, which is not so in males. Apart
Right.
from the disease which are present as a risk factor, these are additional risk factors.
Correct.
So during menopause, what happens? Estrogen, as everybody knows, estrogen is the main protective hormone in female body. Those levels get decreased. So once those levels are decreased, what happens? The estrogen is a vasodilator. I don't know whether you can understand. It's a vasodilator. It increases the artery smoothness and
Okay.
it improves the blood supply. It develops the new arteries, angiogenesis. It is anti-inflammatory. It doesn't prevent the arteries to get dysfunctional. Anti-inflammatory. So anti-proliferative. It doesn't make the artery stiffen. So all these very good, fantastic effects of estrogen are reduced during menopause. So during this stage, what happens? The arteries get stiffened. There will be inflammatory plaque erosions which occur, which are already, even if they are minor. And apart with these, the lady starts developing hypertension. And again, she cannot express her symptoms. It will stay for a longer time. She will develop heart failure. And these anti-inflammatory protective effects, antioxidant effect, and all those things are reduced. So she will end up having a sudden critical attack. So any lady after 50 years, during 50 years, the menopausal age is a very important period in which she has to be taken care at most. Along with these things, she has to be taken care with the diabetic numbers, the blood pressure numbers, the LDL, bad cholesterol numbers, because the protective cholesterol called HDL will be reduced because of the decreased estrogen level. Even patients having an earlier menopause are also at risk factor. Rather than the natural course of having a menopause, the earlier menopause also is a risk factor. So these, I think, few gender specific risk factors which are most important to be considered in detail and to be followed and monitored for every female patient to prevent a deadly heart disease.
That's quite deep, ma'am. This is more complex than we thought of or think of, that, heart attack is a heart attack, whether it is for a man or it is for a woman. But there's lot more complexities, lot more risk factors associated when it comes to women.
Yes.
Whether it is a premenopause or postmenopause or early menopause.
She should be aware that it is no longer just a male disease, because initially they used to think it is a heart attack means generally it is a male who gets. I will not get a heart attack. That is wrong. She is at more 2 to 3 folds higher risk to develop heart disease. That she should be aware of.
But it goes unnoticed. That's why we call it silent killer in women.
Exactly. That's why it is a very much applicable for female. Though heart disease is a silent killer, but it is a much more silent killer for a female patient.
I think we really got some great insights on how it really affects specifically women. So, ma'am, we just spoke about what exactly is heart disease in women, symptoms, how, we should not ignore, and then we go to a doctor as soon as possible, and then the risk factors specific to women. Now it's time to diagnose it on time. So at what age should women begin their routine heart screening if we talk about diagnosis? And does this change for women with conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, family history, or postmenopause?
See, as I told you, the risk factors start at very early age in females. Like a patient having early menarche is also very thing to be kept in mind, like the early menopause. Even early menarche is another point. So what I say is, every lady after 20 years, she should undergo testing for all these number-based diseases like diabetes, cholesterol, and strictly take care of her waist circumference, because obesity is a very inflammatory state and it has to be taken care at the earlier state. That is, at the age of 20, she should be very careful about her waist circumference. She should not let it grow, because once it starts growing, it starts depositing into the organs.
Yeah.
The fat starts depositing and percolating into the organs and causing it dysfunctional. So, as I told you, at 20 years, next comes around 40 to 50 years, she has to monitor at least every yearly or 2 yearly sugar levels and another 2 yearly cholesterol levels. Her numbers are fine, still go on. And then apart from that, she has to again, these are all the testing part. Okay, the testing part is taking care of numbers again during menopause. It's definitely advisable if during after menopause is the most important stage of human female life, where the hormones are totally changed. So there, consulting a gynecologist for a hormone replacement therapy also is a good choice. Okay, and during that time, very frequent taking care of her health with her numbers and other risk factors through many modes we have at present, which is not exactly female specific, but then still we can make out the underlying cause of further evolving disease like blood pressure, heart failures and preserved ejection fraction. Though our functions are good, but heart is different.
Yeah.
So that symptoms all through ECGs, echos, and other things. These are the clinical way and diagnostic way. Most importantly is lifestyle.
Yeah.
If I tell you about how frequently she has to be screened, I think this is what I have told you.
Yes.
And further things probably I will discuss.
So know your numbers is what you are advising the audience that you should
Right
know
from
your-
beginning.
Right
not
from beginning.
not that after 55 years I will get a heart disease. No.
Yeah.
Most importantly, waist circumference, obesity in females is one of the underlying, silent killer. This is one of the silent killer, and it has a lot of effect on metabolic symptoms, metabolic parameters, and inflammatory parameters. So it can precipitate disease faster.
Okay.
So this is one important thing also.
I think the way of women take their health quite lightly is not something because
Not
it is-
advisable.
it is very more complicated.
Yes.
Yes. Ma'am, we just spoke about the diagnosis. Now, coming on to a point why we are doing is for the prevention, right? So, prevention and the daily heart health. So, what practical steps that women can take in their everyday lives through lifestyle choices, diet, exercise, and regular checkups, like you also mentioned, to significantly reduce their risk of heart disease?
See, this step is very crucial that I told you. It is a number one killer disease, and 80% can be taken care if it is addressed properly. 80%. It's a big amount, big number. So, first of all, I would like to say a lifestyle modification. So, lifestyle is, everybody says do lifestyle modification. But how? So, initially, what I told you, obesity is one of the leading upcoming risk factor. So, for that, and even the diet, which all has indirect effect on your blood pressures, cholesterols, and other parameters. So, I feel people to accept the urbanization in a nice way, not to eat oily foods, not to eat saturated fats, avoid refined products like fine rice and maida, to avoid that and change to whole grain. Since it is an Indian setup, changing of this diet will not change much of their lingual taste. So use ragi, use bajra, use jowar, use other oats, which has a lesser glycemic index, increase fibers, and doesn't have a significant effect of it over cholesterols and sugar levels. These are first. Sedentary lifestyle is one of the, again, a silent killer. So minimum, I'm not asking you to do an everyday vigorous exercises for 2-3 hours. It is not possible. It is not feasible. Minimum 150 minutes per week. You divide the days whenever you are free, but make sure at least you cross 150 minutes of walking, 150 minutes of exercise. If you are good enough to spare some time of half an hour, brisk walking.
Yes.
Of 30 minutes. This is very important. Exercise. Exercise is one of the crucial thing which is required for this lifestyle changes and prevention of heart disease. So one of the major effect of lifestyle changes. And see, we are used to getting easy access to everything nowadays. So I request females not to consume tobacco in any form, especially smoking, hookah, and other things. It's highly dangerous. It is 10 times more harmful than a male.
Correct.
If you have one smoke, it is 10 times more dangerous for a female than a male to have a smoke. So, smoking is one of the important, again, number one thing to be avoided. Avoid alcohol, even if you have it in limitation. If you have not started, don't start. If you are having, please have a limitation in alcohol consumption, and then avoid smoking. These two are very important lifestyle modification. About your diet, along with taking whole grains, don't take highly saturated fats like pizzas, mayonnaise, and take a less amount of oil, whatever oil you're taking, and avoid these evening snacks like pakoras, and these are very favorite of Indian women, making them for family and consuming it herself. These things to be avoided. Take a different grain part of it and use the same taste, and better change the food habits. Next, after food habits, I told you how to get into the medical part of screening. So during screening, be aware of your family history, that your father and mother is having a diabetes or a hypertension. Be aware that you might also get it. And apart from this, you check your blood pressures regularly with your local physician. Check your diabetic status, check your LDL levels for sugar, lipids, with whether you have an increasing LDL, decreasing LDL, whether you have triglycerides more, and again get a proper ECG done and get an echo checkup. As per age and as per your risk, patient individualization, the doctors will prefer you to get it checked how frequently. So these are one of the important preventive part. So as I told you in previous one question, gender specific,
Yes.
I'll tell you about autoimmune diseases.
Yeah.
So autoimmune diseases also are very frequent in females, like SLE and rheumatoid arthritis. These are two important autoimmune diseases. As I told you, the pregnancy part, the menopausal status, and then this autoimmune disease is one of the gender specific. So these are also to be prevented and rechecked for it, and then go ahead for the treatment part so that it doesn't progress or cause a inflammatory state, so that you can develop having a cardiovascular risk. So these are few preventive strategies which I would like to discuss and tell the people to be aware of it.
And we have got the pulse that how it can be prevented. You rightly mentioned about the lifestyle diseases, the eating habits, the sedentary lifestyle, how we can have a healthy lifestyle by having at least 150 minutes of an exercise to keep your heart healthy in a shape that, it have a habit of exercise.
Right.
So that anytime it gets into trouble, that is quite active to lead the situation, right?
Right.
Thank you so much for that insightful response, ma'am. And we really got some good awareness, insights for our audience out there.
Yeah.
They would definitely take this message home and will take care of their heart in a better way. That we hope so. Moving on to our next segment, ma'am, that is a rapid fire round. And we want some fiery, rapid, bold answers from you.
Yeah.
So, starting with one heart symptom in women that is most commonly misunderstood.
Breathlessness, shortness of breath, palpitation, indigestion. So generally these three symptoms are totally misunderstood, and they say you just take some rest, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So this is three symptoms which never should be missed. And any kind of pain anywhere around the neck, around the chest should not be ignored.
So we should
Cold
not take-
sweats,
Yeah.
especially. I have seen some females having cold sweats without any reason. Must be they'll tell you are very anxious. That's why you just had a sweating episode without with you became almost like cold and things like that. So I think these three important symptoms should not be missed.
Okay. So one life stage where women should be extra alert about their heart health.
It definitely has to be menopause. Has to be menopause, and around ages of 45 to 50 years, where this menopausal process is going on. So there, I definitely advise them to be at most careful, know your numbers, change your lifestyle, be aware of your symptoms, probably get too much. Don't just go through whatever you are feeling. Just express your feelings or symptoms to the doctor. Take a health check. Be aware of your numbers and treatment, and don't miss it. Be with regular reports and present to the emergency whatever you have as a symptom.
So be vigilant after the menopause.
Yes.
A daily habit that silently increase heart risk in women.
Definitely sedentary. Just sitting and watching TV, especially which is a very favorite things of many of the Indian women, sedentary are not accepted. Sedentary lifestyle has to be changed. You please move around at least every 30 minutes. Don't let the blood to just have a stasis. You'll get a muscle stiffness, you'll get a increase LDL accumulation, cholesterol accumulation. It causes again a risk factor, which is very much risky to get that into oneself if you avoid the sedentary lifestyle. Sedentary lifestyle, I feel lifestyle modification is, I told you, at any stage is one of the game changer.
Perfect. So a reason women's heart disease is diagnosed late in India.
See, Indian setup, first of all, it is a less of unaware, critically lack of awareness for a woman, what her symptoms is and how important it is. And most of the Indian women are only givers, caretaking. They prioritize family, they prioritize other symptoms than their own symptoms. And even as such, the Indian mentality, females are not taken as a serious, symptoms of them are not taken as serious as that of a male folk. So this is the first, I think, at all levels is the barrier we are facing. Even if in the medical fraternity, there are no proper clinical guidelines specific for females. It's treated in general. So even start from detection. From ECG, if you find some specific, non-specific, they just say, okay, we'll follow you up later, you come back. They don't take the proper guideline management treatment and not followed for females than that of male. This again second at the treatment level. And then even if you are conducting a trial or something to find out what could be a cause, those females are underrepresented. They don't come for the trial, or they are not, the number of people who are included in that are not females. They're not female specific gadgets to detect the disease at the earlier stage. They're not female specific risk factors which has to be identified at earlier stage and hit on those points for female patients in when you come to the treatment or the medical part of it. Third thing is, even if we have a gadget, it goes unrecognized because there is a anatomical change of female body or female disease involvement, so it gets undiagnosed. So these are few important reasons for which the symptoms get unrecognized or misinterpreted as a less serious condition, less serious disease compared to that of a male.
So
I feel.
literally symptoms, the females are unaware of the symptoms.
Unaware. Basically, they are unaware and they don't give themselves a lot of relevance.
Correct.
Compared to that of the others. So they have all the rights to take care of their symptoms, become a hypochondriac, in fact, of your own symptoms and then represent. So like this, probably slowly we can get over this, unrecognized disease in females.
Perfect. So, ma'am, another very important thing, that one technology or innovation in cardiology that you feel is especially beneficial for today, and if we talk about women also.
I think most of it, technology-wise, I think ECG is one of the basic thing.
Okay.
At least she will be having some recognition of the symptoms. Let it be a, heart attack, or let it be a increased heart volume, thickness, and then heart failure. Something we can detect in ECG and an echocardiography, which shows definitely whether she is really having a breathlessness due to other disease or that of a heart disease, and whether she is having a heart attack. So I think ECG, echo, and all blood tests are important tools for which female at this current point of stage, one important tool at the initial step.
Ma'am, looking ahead, when we talk about future, what excites you the most about the future of cardiology in India?
Yeah, future probably, apart from the general gadgets and tools and means and process in which we can diagnose and treat the female patients at present, Now we are looking forward for an AI induced, artificial intelligence induced usefulness in diagnosis and treatment of any heart disease, especially for females. So I am looking for these new innovations to come into a daily practice. So first of all, the ECG interpretation of artificial intelligence, which a human can miss, can be interpreted with artificial intelligence, and we can diagnose the symptoms at the earliest. For example, a mammography combined device. Okay, there is a device in which you get a mammography done, again get a breast arterial calcification, a newer technology
Correct.
which predicts the further cardiovascular disease and mandates her to get into a further investigation process to prevent catch hold of the disease at the earlier stage. An ultrasound, a dual AI to get into the structural heart disease and recognize the cardiac disease along with the routine USG. So these are all artificial intelligence protocols, and getting into artificial intelligence algorithms for diagnosis of a diabetic patient, especially a patient having a preeclampsia or a gestational diabetes, a patient having a PCOS, female specific algorithms from AI to go about in detecting risk factors for cardiovascular disease. Lastly, at the digital connect, digital involvement in the healthcare system is one of, again, a very good innovations which is coming. Wearing a smart watches,
Yes.
wearing gadget specific bras where you have a heart rate monitoring, respiratory rate monitoring to detect arrhythmias. Okay, and then the watch will detect you with the changes in the pulse and what is the rate. If she's having an atrial fibrillation, it is again an disease indirectly related to hypertension, and check blood pressures, cuffless blood pressure cuff, which doesn't actually inflate or deflate, but then she is on a monitor of blood pressure if she is missed or she is misinterpreted as anxiety and other things. And then further imagings like 3D or 4D MRI structures, this microvascular tracing. These are few advancements which we are seeing. And then genetic typing, very important. Genetic typing is different for male and a female.
Okay.
So omics is another technique where you go for genomic and proteomic distributions of the genetic structure, where the specific gene is targeted for specific female patient. So the gene is targeted and treated accordingly so that she doesn't develop a disease as severe as that of a male. Okay, so these are few important innovative techniques where I am very much looking forward that everybody follows that in the day-to-day OPD practice or daily medical treatment line. So new guidelines has to be coming. Will I expect it to be coming? New trials in which we represent females, and then new guidelines for females. A few new important upcoming things which I am looking forward, and it might be a great help to the women heart health, basically.
Ma'am, by just listening that, it makes me little excited about we do have a lot of technologies coming around to make our diagnosis quite easier and
Yes,
simpler.
and in detail and
Correct.
gender specific.
So I can understand how much you would be excited about looking forward to it.
Exactly.
So it would be very beneficial for the entire healthcare ecosystem of our country and every patient, I believe. Ma'am, before we close this conversation and let you go, I have another last question for our audience. So, if a woman is watching our episode and remembers just one message about her heart health, what should that message be?
See, I request all you ladies to prioritize your heart, prioritize your symptoms, do help and take care of others, but your heart equally deserves the exact care as that of other family people. So you are the family maker, you have to be safe. The one and foremost is don't ever take any kind of stress. Stress in I as missed as a very important underlying silent factor which gives rise to a many dreaded diseases. So eat well, eat healthy, sleep well, at least 6 to 7 hours, have a better lifestyle change, try to avoid sedentary lifestyle, move around, take a small exercise, check yourself, be very careful during your menopause, and finally your heart deserves the best, and you need to be happy and healthy for your life and for your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that powerful and impactful message for our audience out there who's listening. And thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us so that we can together make a country and build an environment where everyone takes their heart seriously.
Seriously, yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you for a nice session.
Thank you.